welcome back to ESL Pro League. We just had the first map go down between Virtus.pro and Ninjas in Pyjamas. It was a one-sided affair where Virtus.pro just closed it out in a matter of seconds. Now we move in to Cobblestone. This is where things should be different. Harry, what do you think about this one? How's this going to go?
I mean, NiP did incredibly bad on Nuclear. Yeah. There's no beating around the bush here. I mean, like, VP, they've been playing bad up until now, and that was a very, very triumphant return to form from them. I think if that continues on to Cobble, then things are not looking good here for NiP. That said, it is a good map for them right now. They've had some, impressive results on it. Even kind of games they've lost have normally been fairly close. Even when we look at when they lost versus Immortals, it was a 14-16 scoreline, which originally saw them in the lead. A strong performance across the board, and they just kind of threw the last like 5-6 rounds and did end up losing it. But as for their actual performance, it's been very good. It's a good map for Draken, and that's what I'm particularly excited to see. Back when we saw him on Epsilon, it was a good map for them as well, normally due to dominant performances from him or Disco Doppelin. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one, I think. NiP, they should be able to step up here. I mean, they've had good results in it, and Draken, he's going to be a key factor for them. It's
true. I mean, he was kind of the only member that was really living up to the hype.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
That first map, right? He was the only one that really did too much at all. Now, coming into Cobblestone, the only scary factor is I just don't know if they're going to have it in them off the back of what was a very hard knock to take on that first map. I mean, VP just dismantled them. They really did just sort of, they toyed with them there. I'm scared if NiP aren't going to be able to reset themselves coming into the second matchup. Yeah. But obviously, I think the thing is as well, quite an impactful factor is if VP actually open this up and get the first couple of rounds under their belt, I think NiP might just let it slip off the back of that. I think it will be, it'll be too far gone already. Yeah, I mean, especially as well because Cobblestone's a very good map for VP. It's one they're very confident on, one they choose to play a lot. Some of the results that kind of spring to mind most recently is a 16-2 Fnatic on there, which, is quite a decent scoreline to say the least. Now, Fnatic not really, they've been a bit up and down, a bit inconsistent here and there, but for the most part, you can say that they're, I would say at least a more consistent team than NiP. So, bearing that in mind, not looking too great. But, I mean, you have seen the bad form from VP recently, and it's online. So, and we were saying how even in between, one game to the next, VP can switch up. There's like a switch in their brains, which just make them go from being amazing to struggling even up against kind of the tier 2 opposition sometimes. It's true. It's very odd when that does sort of happen. Guys, though, if you are excited for this matchup, go over and grab your jerseys from the store so you can feel a little bit more comfortable whilst you watch Ninja Pyjamas get smashed on the second map. It could happen, or NiP could bounce back, or ambiguity putting out there. Harry, how do you reckon it's going to go? Give me a final prediction so we can get underway with this game. I think that I still think that VP are going to take it, but I would just say keep an eye on Draken. And then on the side of VP, keep an eye on Snax, definitely. He's going to be the one to watch out for here for me. I got to agree with you there. I think VP will be able to close this one out. Snax was playing very well, as you said. I mean, overall, there, everyone just seemed on point. Everyone was very crisp. It seems very well-oiled as well. That's the thing. VP, it's very weird, right? Considering their very lengthy experience and time spent together, they still have these days where it seems like they're almost like a newly formed team, where just the communication doesn't quite click. And then that normally is where we see them in kind of their spots where they're struggling a little bit. But that game there, regardless of whether or not anyone was hitting shots, the communication was incredibly on point. Everyone was kind of playing their roles to a T, something that we said had to come into fruition for NiP, which struggled a lot. Draken very rarely even had the AWP. But yeah, I mean, on the side of VP, it was phenomenal. The outside hold on Nuke was something to behold. And some of the strategies they threw into it were great. I think coming into Cobble, a map they're even more confident on, it's just, watching NiP get destroyed in new and exciting ways. It's true. Let's see if that is going to be the case, or if NiP can switch it up. Draken, he was kind of the only one with a very dominant performance. If he can live up to that once again, maybe they will have a lifeline. Obviously, the only factor is VP starting off on that T side. Could be a very detrimental factor. Look at this, though. Draken early on will actually take that fight towards outside, but gets completely domed. He gets taken down there by Nia. I mean, that is a deadly frag, instantly taking him down. As they actually keep this warpath going as well, Harry, they're going to sprint their way up towards that A. So actually, you can second-guess themselves and slow down. Pasha on the lurk, though. This could be huge. Doesn't actually get a chance to do too much with it, though. Forest will sniff him out. Yeah, that was such a key frag. I mean, if it had just been Draken dying and that was it, then that causes so many problems for NiP. Luckily enough, they find the equalizer in the form of Pasha over towards B. And you can already see this effect this has had on VP. They've slowed down a lot. They were looking to rotate back over towards that B site. And, I mean, if Pasha had been the one to find that frag, then B would have been so easy for them to slide into. You would have seen NiP look so incredibly displaced. But they do lose Freiburg now over towards A. And, well, having him hit the deck early on means that now they find themselves in a man disadvantage. And Cobble is not the map you want to
be in this situation on. You can see Exist was thinking about falling back out of a drop, but instead he's actually going to relocate here. And now the push comes in, and it was a good decision by him to play over towards here, as it does allow him to fall back in towards the B site, keep the pressure on, and buy time for the rotate to come in from GetRight, who is going to be hot on the heels, but Snacks mid-air with the knife. Watch out for this man. He's a living Genji ultimate, he is.
That's unbelievable that he's been able to get away with that. Thing is as well, not only has he got that nice kill, that even now is going to affect NiP mentally more so than what they had coming into this game, but look at the amount of cash he gets off the back of that as well. Absolutely crazy Snacks has been able to pull that off. I mean, if you don't know where Snacks is, he's behind you. That has been the age-old phrase about this man, and he still lives up to that as they close this out very quickly now. Moving on. Well, they're going to be able to pick up these following few rounds easily. Draken will take the fight towards side once more. Has the hand cannon in his hand this time around. Let's see if he actually will be able to do some damage there a little bit later on.
He doesn't want to stick around. They're now falling on back a little bit, watching the push in through mid. He's the only player here trying to just be a pillar of resistance. Does get one, but Bialy quick to topple said pillar as he falls over towards long. Now GetRight's rotated around. He'll be playing up close in mid by the smoke, looking like he might just go on in. No utility to signal this to them, but Bialy faster on the trigger is quick to deny that play. A very GetRight-esque play. They're going to be going aggressive into the smoke and punished instantaneously for it. Now the rotates come in from B. You can see Freiberg and Forest both gearing up over towards A, but the bomb is already rotating back over to this B site. They are wary of this exact play, though, as you can see Freiberg making his way over, and they're just going to take the gamble. Forest rejoins them. They haven't seen anyone A in a while, so they're presuming it's the fake Exist. Here's the utility rating on in, and he's going to be up close and personal with the CZ. Very quick to go down at the Mach 10 from Pasha. But now Forest with the Deagle going to be able to find the first. The trade comes through. He gets himself a second, looking for the third, but Neo not going to allow that to happen. Mops him up, and that's VP to find themselves round number 2.
VP keeping it going as well. Obviously did lose a couple of members, so it was a little bit harder than they wanted it to. Did have to actually fight tooth and nail throughout that one. But obviously they can just reinvest here. They can go for the SMGs as well, as they do have that read on the economy of NiP. They know they're still going to have much money to play with. So you can just get out that MP7, sorry. You can get the Mach 10 out as well. Just tear your way through very easily. Go for more of a fast-paced style of CS as they take their fight towards that B site. Lots of early nade uses. So you can see the splash damage coming over. Nearly actually blows GetRight out of the server, losing 125 HP. They have the smokes as well. Most likely, if they play it smart, they will divide the site in half, use those smokes, chuck them over, basically just completely blocks off all line of sight for the CTs. Then you go for the late round push in.
Yeah, GetRight just tiptoeing out of there. He's not looking too healthy. Tagged down at 25 HP on the back of that barrage of nades. And now the smokes are raining on in. Looking like it's just going to be a B play as they dedicate themselves to this. Only one smoke down. They can use the AKs on these long sight lines, so they want to leave them open. They don't want to be in the situation where NiP can just maneuver through the smokes and put these pistols to good use. But with no one on the site, it's going to be handed over to VP entirely for free. And now this is where NiP are going to try and potentially find some exits, or they might just opt to save. I mean, they know that VP are going to be keeping those SMGs, so any frag they can deny is going to be more than worth it. I doubt we're going to see them go too aggressively here, and that's just because they don't want to allow VP to farm up cash. Essentially, it means that keeping this Mach 10 and actually investing into the MP7 is not worth it in the slightest. We do see GetRight go down, but that's only $300 recovered. This is where Pasha has to come up huge. But there are a couple of weak, unarmored friends around the corner. Down goes Forest. Freiberg got to trade that out, but then there's Neo with the AK chiming in. Draken rearing his head over the top of the stairs, and Freiberg trying to fall on back, bait and switch, as it does allow Snacks to make his way out. Draken still hasn't acted yet. Missing a couple of key shots, will go down. So not only does the idea of not losing anyone not pan out, they actually all die in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, they all are going to get completely taken down there. I mean, the thing is, though, Pasha didn't actually find any kills for that Mach 10. And Bialy only got one with the MP7. That kind of pays for itself, essentially, though. But it looks like he will hold on to it. We saw how critical he was with a weapon, actually, on the 4th round of Nuke prior to this. So I'm not surprised he has actually just stuck with a weapon. He knows that he can be very effective with it. Has confidence, so he will just keep it on his person for now. Draken tries to go for an early frag towards mid. Peeks out. Does go for the pot shot, trying to get a bit of information, but he is immediately forced back. And you can see heavy mid-aggression actually coming out from VP here. They're contesting quite heavily to try and get control of it. Pasha will take a little bit of a hit, though. Locks him down slightly. But all that does is really momentarily slow them down. It's not really too much to write home about.
Yeah, the Draken's advantage, they don't have a counter-AWP up on VP, anything really to get in the way too much, and he's just going to be playing this out towards mid, waiting for anyone to walk unsuspectingly into his crosshairs, and Actually does just miss that shot, goes for the flick, and actually going to be tagged down very low on the back of it. Neo still alive and kicking, counting his blessings. That shot didn't connect earlier, and here's the wrap in from behind. They know where you are, Draken, and you've been abandoned as GetRight leaves him to fend for himself. That long flank comes in, and now they're in a bit of trouble, especially as GetRight there through the doors exists, just watching his Swedish brother die before his very eyes. But Freiburg does at least find some sort of consolation frag.
Does take them down there, but look at this positional play from Exist. So smart, trigger patience on display. Will find one frag before he gets taken down, unfortunately, by Neo. He was able to readjust and get the kill with the AK-47. 3 versus 2 as they make their approach towards the A-bomb site. NiP do have a little bit of a crossfire setup to play with. I mean, they can kind of complement each other. It's not too fantastic, but it might work. Unfortunately, Forrest goes down. Neo for another frag as well will find a headshot towards Freiburg. There's the bomb plant as well. They just get an extra little bit of cash to boot going along with them throughout that round. That is 4 rounds now secured by VP. And this should be the 5th locked up as well, because NiP, they're broken. Their economy is pretty badly damaged. All they can really opt to do is invest into some pistols. And I mean, P250s in close range, sure, might be fairly effective, but they're actually going to go for more so of a deagle buy. A little bit of a deco on display. You've got 2 bits of utility. It's just the 1 HE and the smoke on Freiburg.
Now Draken's going to be going aggressive over towards long, but the rest of VP, I mean, they're just over here towards this B site, gearing up. Pasha does miss the initial shot, now trying to fall on back, as actually that Deagle's going to be raining in some death from afar on the back of Forrest. He is going to be tagged a little bit, but ultimately, I mean, he's got a good return on investment here in terms of damage done as he paints up Bialy, looking to try and do that much more. As him and Exist have the crossfire set up on a ramp, you can see that they've rotated a 4th player on round in the form of GetRight into this B site. Draken's been left to defend A on his lonesome. Molotov's raining on in. Snack's going to be the first to take the peek at Forrest. Well, he's going to remove his face for him. Forrest's going to be on 2 now, looking for a 3rd, but no, Taz quickly shut that down. These Deagles doing so much damage. Neo able to get 1 in retort, but he finds himself now 1v3. A lot on his plate left to do up against these naked and unarmored opponents. He makes his way to the site, but Draken, down he goes. That's NiP to find their first round, and in style.
Very, very nicely done there. Didn't expect too much coming out of the decode, to be honest. Didn't have much faith in it, but I definitely should have, as they have proven just how effective they can wield those deadly, deadly pistols. They closed that one out with a dominant affair. You can see VP, though, have to reinvest quite heavily. They will get the buyback through. Pasha is going to have the AWP as well. It's been dropped to him kindly by one of his teammates. They can try and wield them into this round. NiP, though, they've scavenged a lot of weapons. Those 2 Kalashnikovs are in their side. They've also got the AWP over on Draken. So it'll be interesting to see who actually comes out on top into this. It's more so one of the actual only couple of full buys you've actually seen coming out from either side. Seems like they're playing slower on the side of VP, though. You can see that mid-aggression on display. They're just trying to hold. They're not really trying to contest. Just more so if ninjas in pajamas get overly aggressive, then they'll find the frags. Towards the B side, same kind of story as well. They're just playing it slow, hoping NiP will make the first mistake.
Yeah, Draken going to be the one who could do some damage here as the peak might come out over in towards middle. GetRight on long as well. Locked in this eternal duel with Neo, just waiting to see who rounds the corner first. Now, Draken and GetRight do have this crossfire set up, so if any aggression does come in towards A, it's just a stalemate for the time being. The rest of VP over towards this B site, and right now they're just waiting to see if NiP get a little bit overzealous, as you were saying, just holding positions, waiting to see if anything's given to them for free, and now the push going to be coming in over at drop. Freiburg playing this passively. Whilst this does sometimes work because now you've got players trapped here and isolated, you have to land these shots. And, well, Freiburg struggles with exactly that. Down he goes, Bialy to find the entry, and that's going to open up the push in through connector. Exist got to try and wrap this up as GetRight. Well, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Draken, similar to what NiP are going to do to him, is going to get dropped. And, well, now the trade comes in from GetRight. Thankfully, with a 3-on-3, make that a 2-on-3 as GetRight's going to be able to find himself a second. Looking for the 3rd, tries to spray on a Bialy, who is tagged down low. GetRight beneath balcony, trying to fight for survival, but Bialy going to be cutting his life support. As now it's Pasha and Bialy 2v1. They flip the situation on its head and find themselves with the advantage.
As Forrest comes over to the scene, hoping he can try and deny this, but the bomb will be snuck down just in the nick of time. He leaves them in this 1 versus 2 situation, trying to create this 1 versus 1. He brushes over the top of the bonnet, but unfortunately for him, Bialy have the drop on him, will find the frag, and that is a huge round from Bialy there. Is able to close it out. Intense, though. Really down to the wire stuff. But VP biting back and being able to do the damage like that. You can see the effects of the economic damage that has been done as well now coming through into this round on the side of NiP. They don't have too much to play with. Sure, they've got the AWP on Draken and 2 rifles, but 2 of their players are caught with these measly pistols. Lack of utility as well, so it could actually hinder them quite heavily. And VP, seems like they're not going to run the risk of actually splitting up into this round. More of a Wolfpack style CS. They take a slow approach down towards mid early. Smokes go through to give them safe passage in towards the the CT side of middle. Let's see what they can actually pull out of the bag into this round.
Gerrit going to be flashing himself through. Does take the peek for information, but the timing a little bit off. Doesn't spot out the tide of VP players who have just poured on into mid. Long's been left open. Draken didn't take it aggressively this time. In fact, he's all the way over towards B as they switch up this A-hold with Forest and Gerrit, hoping to complement each other a little bit better in this A-hold. And we can see VP, they did get control of the middle, but since then they haven't really done much. They've slowed right down. Don't want to play into the hands of NiP, but they're going to do exactly that. Gerrit to find the first as Pasha does hit the dirt. No trade frag in sight just yet, and Forest still playing around SWAT. Going to be his backup, watching Long. The thing is, Deagle not going to be the best weapon to have in this scenario, so Gerrit's going to instead opt to push down mid. This leaves him at the firing line at Long, but it does open up to the potential of Taz finding him in mid as they go barrel to barrel. Gerrit going to be looking the wrong way. Taz on the entries gets the first, but then traded out by Exist.
Oh, would have been a shame if they actually got that follow-up frag there. Could have been a huge opener towards the A-bomb site, but luckily NiP are able to do so and actually slow them down. Exist arrives on the scene, though, hoping to cause a stir as he will fire a couple of pot shots. Does connect one of them into the head of Snacks. Will be able to eliminate him, but Bayali fires back, and all of a sudden, it's just a 2 versus 1. Draken, the man himself. He's in his natural element. He has the AWP in his hands, his favoured weapon. He can do so much damage with. Goes for a pot shot through the smoke, hopes to connect, but no one will fall just yet, and that bomb is going to be planted within the nick of time, just at the right second. Draken peeks out as well, but Neo, he's out in the open, just one more of an off angle, playing over by Wood. Finds an easy headshot. Draken wouldn't be thinking to check that. Actually does get punished, and NiP go down in that one.
Yeah, Gerrit is gone, however. No sure what's going on with him, but hopefully we'll be back in a minute.
Knocked out the server.
Yeah, there we go. He's, yeah, it hasn't left NiP. That's fine. We're all good. But yeah, 6-1, 5 rounds the difference. And VP looking to be in fighting fashion here on their T side. Very little presented right now on the side of NiP. What I can say, at least, is it does seem, in my opinion, to look a little bit better than what we saw on Nuke. There seems to be a little bit more structure to it. I just think now we're seeing, you know, VP in good form, and that's the real issue.
It's true. I mean, this is kind of, you know, there's always the common joke about Virtus.pro, but this is what they get into. When they get the momentum behind them, that's when they do play at their physical best. They become unstoppable purely because they just have a confidence high. They get themselves in this sort of mindset where they will take those aim battles and just somehow win them purely off believing they're going to. And it's a shame to see, obviously, this early on, because as though this map is sort of notched towards the C side and favourable, we still need to see NiP having some kind of resurgence. It's early days yet. We are only in round number 8, so there's definitely time for NiP to bounce back and possibly take the advantage in terms of the scoreline. But I just don't feel like we're going to see that much coming out from yet. It seems quite stagnant already, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like the fact they did try switching it up a little bit in that previous round where they put Draken over on B. I don't think that, you know, I think that's a good call, at least from them to make, because we've seen VP hit that B site time and time again, and they've been lacking some heavy firepower to kind of divide the push, and that's something that Draken can certainly provide on the back of his AWP. But yeah, you know, it's just right now we are seeing a bit of a problem for them. They can't really contest mid, and that's something that, you know, we like to see them get that information. VP doing a great job of, you know, preventing exactly that. You can see they just leave 2 players there to hold it every single round. They wait for the timer to go down. Normally NiP have used up all their utility just, you know, through being kind of scared of that brunt force push coming in from VP. So they've got very little left to hold on to, very little leverage into this. And, you know, I mean, while switching up Draken on towards that B site was a welcome change and something that I feel like we can both get behind, you know, you need to have a better decision-making process, something more impactful than just moving a player. We need to see these players now stepping up, and we have to see something, you know, perhaps something just to catch VP off guard.
It's true, maybe a little bit of a shock and awe style CS for a spanner in the works. I'm very intrigued as well how Draken always goes for a taser on ecos. Without fail, he seems to want to go for that taser boy. A bit of a tidbit there. Thought I'd throw that out there. But anyway, Virtus.pro obviously going to be able to pick this one up, you would imagine. Not too much of resistance is going to be brought to the table by ninjas in pajamas. I mean, maybe they walk in, Draken gets the taser kill, and it all goes downhill from there. But you never know. It could be an electrifying round.
Yeah, it could. Well, we can see actually Draken going to be utilizing their 7-1 drop, waiting to see if anyone peeks their head over the top, in which case he will be able to deliver a couple of 1,000 volts. Actually, I don't know how many volts are in a taser. That might be too much or too little, but who knows? Probably someone. Anyway, Snacks to be able to open this up. Freiberg able to get one on the back of the USP, but that's going to be all she wrote, as this is already going the way of VP, as you would expect. We've seen them win rounds where it's been far closer. Bomb has been dropped up on the boxes, and Draken, with his trusty taser, Over in drop, trying to pick up one chance frag. Now, actually, this isn't a bad scenario for him. You know, if anyone does bother coming in, the Taser's great for this exact kind of angle. Might be able to find himself an AK to either hold on to or make this round a little bit costly and just delay VP's economy having that chance to build up. Because actually, when we look at it, it's not that strong considering that they are up 6-1. So any damage he can do going to be worth its weight in gold here for NiP, but as they pour into the site, I doubt we're going to see anyone take these close-range engagements. They know they haven't cleared out drop, so I imagine that's going to be their first port of call if they do go hunting. But I just don't think they're going to.
I mean, they don't really need to.
Yeah.
As you said, they know their economy isn't fabulous, so they can't... Oh, Snags with the wallbang. He's on the gear.
Snags with the snaps. Yeah. Oh, okay, he's going to do it again. Snags, you want to stop this, buddy? He's desperate to try and land exactly this, and it would make one hell of a clip if he does. Please, Snags, come on, deliver.
It will be sublime. It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
It could have been. At least Draken does die, but yeah. 7-1, and like you say, the economy now given that kind of chance to start to build up. Now we can see Bialy on, 5.5 grand. Taz getting some money under his belt as well, along with Snags. Pasha still poor as anything, but he should be able to start to amount some, accrue some cash fairly soon. Draken going to be picking up the Mag 7, fan of the close quarters for someone who's meant to be an AWPer. And we're going to be seeing rifles across the board. Forest on that UMP. And they've actually put Draken back over towards B. Going to be taking the aggressive long angle. Now, with the Mag 7, this is quite good. You could catch someone off guard, but Snags, he's looking down range. Definitely going to win this duel, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, Draken shouldn't go for the peak here. He's not really trying to go for an information play. He's more just holding up close personal, hoping he will get at least a sort of trade or, do some damage early to at least slow them down if they go for the side push. So hopefully he doesn't, for some reason, peek into that and get punished by the AWP. Snags is playing a contact style of CS, though, just slow approaching through. I mean, VP over into this round, just playing more of a default. This is how they've been playing it out, very slow style of CS. Then they go for the later round, encroaching towards mid. They do find the kills because they've been able to take control of side 9 times out of 10, which just means they have so much control. This time around, though, they have to brute force their way up through Matrix. There is going to be a crossfire that the Ninjas have set up. Let's see if it will work out, though. Get Right will actually try and open it. Peeks round, got the drop on towards Neo, was able to get an abundance of bullets into him before he could even try and retaliate. He does tag Get Right down to 33 HP, but that is one kill going the way of NiP. If they can try and keep these players alive at this point, though, this is going to be a good round for them. Forest as well, in position to try and do some damage here, Harry.
Yeah, NiP, they've adapted. They've already rotated 2 players over towards B. A great read on the scenario. Forest will go down, but they've still got 3 players here. Make that 2 as they're being mopped up left and right, courtesy of Bialy. Existing Get Right do some damage. Get Right going to take that much more as he finds himself the hat-trick. 3 frags now, looking for a 4th. The nade doesn't do a lot of damage. It's Snags versus 2. Draken and Get Right. Bombs down out in the open. He's got to go ahead and pick that up, but he snuck on by up through short. Get Right holding the angle as is Draken, and while they're going to hear him go for the bomb, he doesn't actually pick it up. Got to go back for that, and that might actually cost him the round because now Draken's been allowed to push on out and capitalize on this. Snags going to go for the no-scope, but he doesn't connect it. Draken has no problem just beheading him there, and that is going to be NiP to find a second round. The AWP up on the CT side. Finally, we're going to see Draken with the chance to try and utilize it. But VP, money not going to be an issue for them into this round.
He's got the best spawn for it as well, for what he wants to do. You can imagine he is going to go for either a slower sort of contact style, just peek his way out, hold the tight angle, or if he does go all-out aggression, as it seems he has the knife out, we'll go for a fast peek out, go for the information play. It seems like he's just going to face it as well, so he's going to spot his way out. Doesn't actually find anyone early into this round. Meanwhile, the rest of VP setting themselves up towards that B bomb site. Good to see Draken actually being quite mobile as well. You can see him reposition now. He spots from side because he didn't see anyone. He's now going to peek from mid as well and just hold more of a passive angle. This will give a lot of information to NiP into the late round about where VP are actually going, as they're going to go for the smoke wall strat on towards the B bomb site, but there's always that moment of doubt, are if they're going to actually commit to it, or would they just be backing off? This is where Draken comes into effect with the early call.
Yeah, only thing to watch out for is Neo's actually sneaking up through long, and he didn't spot him in mid, so potentially he could sneak into the backline, and that bomb's now rotating around. This is where Draken's position is going to be paying dividends if it does pan out, but as he hits that flash over towards long, he's got to be a little bit wary now, a little bit skeptical. They've already got players in through drop. Get Right's there to try and hold back the tide, but he can't, as Pasha finds that first frag. Now, Draken does deal with Neo, at least over towards middle, but now it's him standing between VP and this A site. He's got to do some serious work to keep them off of it, and he's going to get tagged out in the open. Bit of a misread on the scenario there as Snags finishes him off. You do see that Pasha actually falls as well. Snags maybe biting off more than he intended to as he picks up the TK, but Still, bomb's going to go down. Bialy holding the push. Finds that first frag on a Freiburg. Now it's Forest and Exist. And actually, things are going to get hot and toasty. Exist dispatches of snacks, and in the fire and flames, Bialy goes down, roasted. And that will be NiP to find themselves a third.
An unconventional looking retake there coming out.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. You've got to wonder as well, actually, if that round had been any different, if Pasha was able to stay alive. Snacks actually punishing him, as you said on the entry towards that site. Seems like it was a very odd communication there as well, because, I mean, Draken was dead at that point. It was quite a few seconds after he had been finished off. Then we see Pasha get punished. So interesting to see that was
maybe there's power struggles internally on VP.
He wanted the frag.
Yeah.
It's been stolen away from him. Definitely not the best case scenario. VP, though, as well, pretty broken into this round. They do have armor at the very least and a little bit utility to play with, a sprinkle, but it seems like it might be all-out aggression towards that mid area. They burst their way through, trying to use these Tech 9s and a Pain Trains. They sprint their way through. Draken will get the open of those there. Get right with the backstab as well. But it goes neck and neck so far. Harry leaves them in a 3 versus 3 as they make their approach towards A.
Yeah, Get Right had to do more in that scenario, and he knows it now. It's a 3-on-3 Freiburg, and he has a auto shotgun to play around with. And actually, now there's weapons in the hands of VP. The AWP and the M4 and Taz looking to try an entry out towards A. Bomb's going to get dropped back to Snack, so I imagine we're now going to see him peel back over towards that B site along with Neo. Now, Forest is still ready and waiting there, but they hear the utility usage coming out from Taz. He's looking to try, I think, and just dip in through connector if he can. He will have to first deal with Freiburg, but I mean, Freiburg's already got a USP that can take these longer range duels. The crossfire going to be set up with Exist over towards Long, but with where Taz is coming from, if he goes in through connector now, he could actually sneak over towards B, but you can see the bombs rotated background. It looks like A is going to be the site in question, and the timing couldn't be better for them here. Exist is rotated over towards B, trying to play that float roll in between connector and A, and that means it's all on Freiburg with an auto shotgun and a dream on this A site.
They're going to set themselves up, ready to try and make their onslaught towards the site if they can burst their way through. Neo will the one leading the charge, but he might actually be the first sacrifices. Freiburg takes him down, then the follow-up as well. The double tap to remove Snacks from the equation. Taz will fire back, though, finds the kill on towards Freiburg, but he has to do so much more. He's had 2 kills into the round. Can he make it a quad to actually close this one out for VP? Unfortunately not. Exist will find his head and remove Taz from existence. They work their way through. They're keeping it going. Although it was quite a damaging round. I mean, VP, they went into it with nothing to play with. They were pretty broken. They actually got themselves back into a manageable situation. Quite a few casualties on the side of NiP. So you can see that economy isn't actually growing that strong. There has to be an auto shotty buyer going over on towards Freiburg. A weapon that he's been quite proficient with, though.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's been making it work as he does. And well, we got Draken now relegated down to the M4 watching mid. A buy on the cards from VP, and they're just going to go straight in with the aggression. Draken trying to get the hell out of there, falls back to the corner, but Taz more than aware of this. He does get the molly down at least, which tries to do some damage, but he will falter. Get Right. All that stands between VP and this site. Going to be able to pick up the first, goes for a second, looking for even more as he takes the angle wide, but it's Freiburg with the auto shotgun to find 2, and then Exist to get Neo. That round was quick. It was nearly clean. It could have been a little bit cleaner, but Freiburg really only losing the auto shotgun, and they do lose an M4 in mid. But at the end of the day, I mean, Freiburg somehow making this buy with the auto shotty work. He might even go for it again, and there we go. What's going on? He's actually top fragging right now. Now, it's been a while since we've even seen him in that scenario, and he's doing it with an auto shotty. So is this the return of the man himself?
I mean, to be honest, it's actually quite a useful weapon, I'd say, over towards drop down. And when you think about it, players just gliding their way down. Obviously, that amount of buckshot just getting pounded into you as you try and fall down to the ground can be effective. We see MBK actually also do the same kind of thing over towards this B bomb site. One of the only really other players that I see it use that commonly on, but it's always interesting to see it come out. It can be quite usable, so interesting to see that auto shotty still being played with. Actually, interestingly enough, it's got quite a long range on it, all things considered. So
yeah, it does. It's very irritating weapon to try and deal with. We've seen Pasha pick it up every now and again as well, but I think he normally tends more towards the Mag 7 on that CT side. Anyway, now we can see that actually setting up over towards B. 3 players here. Freiburg watching for the push out in drop, and really only Forest and Exist actually on the site to hold back Virtus.pro in this initial play. And you can see they're just lining up the little bit of utility they have managed to scrounge together. And it's going to go in, looking like a wall of smokes to cut the site in half to try and allow them some ground. And while now the push going to be coming on in, you can see Get Right very preemptive, looking like he might rotate on off, but they haven't seen anything just yet. Here we go, Exist with the mow down, gets 1. Forest going to be complimenting him nicely as he gets 2. Look for the 3rd, and there's the flick around, and there we go. Forest and Exist, they just mop it up between them, nice and easy. Don't allow that eco to do any damage whatsoever, and that's perfect. We've actually seen NiP looking like they're in the driving seat from now on, and we were saying how they needed to have the resurgence. They've had exactly that, and I would say even more.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, when we looked at it, right, when we came into the, towards the first sort of the pause. We were like, right, I mean, they've not got too much to play with. They're going to lose that following round. This is going to get VP up into a very good situation. Maybe they can claw it back. They need to start now. And they did do so. They've denied the momentum that VP have been building non-stop. Now they're finally a good location. I mean, even if they go through with just 6 rounds played into the following half, at least they actually have a buffer. If they come back out on top and pistol, they can very easily start to close down their T-half. So it's good to see NiP actually managed to get a bit of a resurgence to give them a bit more breathing room. Now then, slow stuff once again from VP. It's been very all over the place. We've seen a couple of fast plays where they've gone towards that mid burst, but it hasn't really been working out for them. They were denied both times. Now they've fallen back into their older style of CS. Just more of a split default, split and pick. See if NiP push into you. If you don't, go for the late round mid control. Then you have Pasha with the backup of his teammate as well to make their way through drop down, through connector, and you split push towards the A bomb set. I imagine that's what we're going to see once again. It's been fairly common coming out from them. This time around, they have been able to take down control of drop down, but can Freiburg actually ward them off? This is where that auto shot is actually very effective.
Okay, Snack's just going to get blown into another dimension. Down he goes. There's no to worry about Pasha, like you said, has made his way in here as well, but up against the might of the auto shotty on Freiburg, I wouldn't want to be in drop down right now. We can see the bomb snuck out and over towards Long. Get right. And Draken here to hold back this A site, the dynamic duo of this A bomb site, trying to lock things down. Draken turning his attention over towards Long. Neo is still in mid. He's got to watch out for that, but relatively safe right now playing it through the double doors. Slow play coming in from VP. Now they're going to go for this push, and down goes Pasha. Now they can afford to rotate players up and onto this A site. Freiburg going to be the first on the scene. Trades out the auto shotgun in favor of the AK to push onto the site, but they have to clear out Get right there to be ready for him to be here, and I don't think they expect it. He peeks on over the top, misses a couple of key shots, finds the first, looking for a second, but Bialy quick to trade things out. It is going to be a 2-on-3. Bomb's going to get planted, but Forrest, as he mops up Neo, it's all on the bomb planter himself. Bialy, 1 versus 3. Make that a none versus 3 as he bites the dust. Defuse going to come in. And NiP, they tie it up at 7-7.
They're going to be able to get themselves back neck and neck. It'd be interesting if they actually go through with a notch in their belt ahead. Look at this consistency here as well. 6 rounds on the trot to actually get themselves into this situation off the back of, I believe, the pause. So it's interesting to see how that has affected things overall in the NiP camp. Obviously, that wasn't even really a tactical. That was just a slowdown of momentum because Get Right had to reconnect.
Well, I mean, the other thing is we say how VP are a very momentum-based team, and that can be great if they're winning, but the second they take a huge deficit like this, they're going to have to really try and dig deep to fight back. Coming off the back and not playing too well, I'm going to be curious to see how this affects them, but looks like momentum going to be the order of the day as actually they send all 5 players over towards this B site. Neo's actually going to be falling on back over towards mid, just making sure no aggression has come out from the Swedes. And indeed, it has not. We can see Get Right looking to be a little bit curious. Might opt to go for something here as he gets pop flashed out into middle. But it's Forrest to find the first. Through the smoke, Bialy goes down. Nothing they can do to trade this out. So the man advantage going to be taken by NiP very early on.
Slow approach towards the speed bomb site once again. They do have that utility to play with. This is the penultimate round here as well as the first half. So it has to be something that will give them a slight advantage. The smokes will start to come in, so Neo can take control of wards, drop down, or at the very least just distract and confuse the opposition. Seems like he will try and take the fight in, but as per usual, Freiburg backs off, plays from outside of windows, so if he tries to take that control, he can dispatch him before he can go for a backstab. Draken with the opening frag as well now with the AWP. There's a one going the way of Exist also, doing great amounts of damage with that rifle. Snacks will find 1 frag, but that's all he gets. Now it's just Snacks left, forced to fall back. Freiburg is trying to take the fight towards him as well with that auto shot. This could be a very awkward confrontation if he spots him out, but the smoke is actually blocking it. Snacks tries to tiptoe his way in. Draken will hold in his angle as well. Has the backup of his teammates. It should be a fairly easy kill, but Snacks goes another one. Connects the headshot on towards Forrest. Can slip his way towards the bomb site now. Has utility to play with, but 20 seconds to think fast.
Yeah, we've seen Snacks do some amazing things though on this B bomb site in the past. He's going to be 1v3, playing it over towards short, wraps around. Bomb is down, and they're going to be on the clock, but as he peeks out wide, Freiburg connects all the shots necessary, mops him up, and down he goes. Defuse going to come in, and actually we see NiP turn things around completely. They end it in the lead. What an incredible first half, and it looks to continue in the second. We'll be back after a very quick break.
back. An amazing first half has just gone down. This time, it wasn't at one side of the fair. It was actually fairly close. I mean, NiP bringing it back towards the end there and to actually take it in their favour towards the end. Very interesting to see that boiling down. We didn't expect they had it in them, and it didn't look like they did. I mean, the first few rounds were actually quite dominant from VP as well. So interesting to see it's boiled down to this.
Yeah, I mean, VP were looking incredible in the early stages of that. And then NiP, I mean, they've done what NiP do best. They go ahead and defy all expectations. They've actually been able to pull it back, so now they're in the lead heading into their T side. And, you know, I think as long as they can stay on top of things, then we could see this go very close. And, you know, NiP could potentially take it. VP, kind of this team that, like we say, can massively affected by momentum. They can very easily, you know, switch between being, you know, one of the best teams in the world and looking like one of the weaker teams. So, you know, curious to see how this is going to affect them, losing that many rounds consecutively to a team that they completely ruined on that last map.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd, right? Because you look at it and you just think, right, they should have taken such a big mental hit from that because they just got pounded on. But getting into this, it's actually been more so quite reasonable. We even saw Snacks whipping out some knife kills as well, so that's where I thought, right, this is going to hit them pretty hard. Yeah. Like, they're not going to be happy at all, but they seem very consistent. They seem like it hasn't, you know, knocked them at all. Very happy. Draken's looked like he's been performing quite well as well, looking a lot better towards that sort of A site. We saw him actually start to do some work. I mean, more so than anything, Freiburg with the auto shot was actually pretty interesting. You know, we have seen a couple of players do that. I mean, MBK used to do it quite a lot as well, but it's always quite a risk. But he made it work very, very easily.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I mean, speaking of shotguns, Pash is one who does like to pick up the Mag 7 on his CT side. Normally we see him actually use that over towards the hole in the wall, you know, the broken wall, sorry, as opposed to drop down. And, you know, I think that's something that we're probably going to be seeing now as we head into the second half. Curious to see if it can live up to the might, though, of Freiburg on that auto shotgun. Don't think he's going to be able to put it to as effective use on their T side, so I wonder if that will affect them. But, yeah, I mean, you know, the get right and Draken hold on A was something that started off being a bit of a problem for them. I mean, if you remember in round 11, it was when they just kind of started to get some rounds underneath them. They actually started to do quite well. There was the hold in mid up against a force buy coming in from VP, and all the techs rush out through middle. Now, Draken connects that first shot, has the crossfire set up with Get Right, but Draken goes down straight away because he's on the AWP. Get Right had to be the player to find the frags on the players coming through the door, and he couldn't do it. Physically, he only got one, traded out instantly, and then we saw it come down to that very close 3-on-3 where they scavenged the AWP and the M4. Then all of a sudden, they went from looking very rigid, very stuck in their ways on that A site to be a much more fluid duo that worked out and complemented each other very well. As we head into the pistol round, though, let's see if this continues now on their T site.
Are going to burst their way down in towards that B-bomb site. They actually open it up very flawlessly as Freiburg and Get Right start to do damage, but here comes Pasha, the big man himself. Left, right as he takes down two of them. Can he find any more as he wants to box his way back to claim these frags? Spamming out a couple of bullets, but can't quite find the heads until he will dispatch off Forest. Also tags Draken down very low. Pasha is doing this hand single-handedly as he tears his way through. That's a 4K for Pasha. There's going to be Taz for the final frag on towards Draken. And VP open it up with the pistol round to equalize the scoreline immediately.
And that is the perfect start for VP. The thing to kind of give them their second wind almost, I imagine. A little bit more momentum, some wind in their sails to, you know, really ignite this second half. 8-8, all tied up. The force spike going to be coming in from NiP as they desperately try to cling on to this lead. Even if they let it go, though, VP only at most going to find themselves at a 10-8 scoreline, so 2 rounds ahead. Nothing that NiP can't pull back. And already, Draken over towards long, looking to try and kickstart this round. Goes aggressive and actually catches them off guard. Snack's going to go down. The traders to come in from Taz, and damage has been done to him. He's not looking too healthy as Freiburg's there to trade it out. Instantaneously, this A site looking juicy and ripe for the taking. They've already had to rotate round Bialy and Pasha, though. This does leave Neo solo over towards that B site.
He's there as well to try and be a late round backstab, be a nuisance to come in and try and aid his teammates when they make this play towards the A site. They are still going fairly slow though. Bialy has the MP7, a weapon he can be so masterful with, but unfortunately for him, Freiburg's will be a little bit too strong. Now they push their way through. Let's see if they can actually swat out the rest of this round and close it down. Here comes Neo on the rotate with the MP9. He isn't going to realize that from his blind spot, that's where Exist has been hiding. And it all relies on Pasha now. He's at the back of the site, but they've spotted him out.
Yeah, 4K in the pistol. Had to 4K again to win that one out. But actually, the star of the show in this round is going to be Freiburg, picking up 3 crucial frags. the one that not only kind of kickstarted that whole take in towards the A site, but then even when the reinforcements came through, he then picks off Bialy as well. So he does all the work he needed to do and more. And look at this buy from VP. It's a whole bunch of artillery, deagles for the long range, nades for the explosive early damage. And they're going to be taking them over towards B, and you've got to feel bad for VP here because this is such an investment, and the best they're going to get out of it is wrecking Get Right.
It's true. Those deagles in play, very, very heavy on the amount of cash they've had to inject. I mean, they have to as well, because they won that first pistol round, but then get reset, and that's even worse for your economy than actually losing the first pistol round just going on normally. They have to pump the cash into this to actually get themselves back into more of a manageable situation into the later game, as otherwise they're just giving away so many rounds for free with nothing to really help them. Snacks is up close personal. Not even sure Harry spots out Get Right there through that smoke, but will actually find the frag. Takes him down. Exist, meanwhile, over towards side. Will push him with the rest of his teammates. They do trade back upon Snacks now, leaving a 4 versus 4. Good bit of damage already done by VP, though. If they can try and keep this up, get a couple more frags, at least force out a couple of rebuys, it won't be the worst round. Unfortunately, Neo's been sent off to the Burns ward. Bialy's going to lose his head as well. Things start to go very far south.
Yeah, I mean, this round and the previous going all the way of NiP. I mean, even if the damage had been done there by VP, the buy into the next round, the force buy that NiP would have done, if VP had picked that up, would have been great anyway. Somehow on the back of that force in the previous, they actually kept, what, 3 or 4 players alive and scavenged all the weapons they needed. So there was hardly even a reinvestment into that last round. This time, the money going to continue to build up that much more. Taz, the only player with anything to bring to the table, does have a deagle to play around with. Hopefully he can click on some heads with that. And actually to see Pasha boost 2 players up and over towards Long as Bialy and Snacks take up position. They take up their overwatch of Long, but already bombs out on the back of NiP on this B site. And with only one man here in the form of Neo, he's going to have to live up to that name, swerve around these bullets, and he can't as he goes down. The man advantage secured in this B site, overrun with Swedes.
Completely secured it. They've locked it down for their own. I mean, this is going to be their new home at this point. They can just hunker down, get the bomb planted. It's looking good. Virtus.pro do start to tiptoe over and hope to at least find a couple of exit frags, you'd imagine, as they know they're not going to do too much else into this round. They do have these USPs, the one deagle on Taz, but Taz is getting absolutely bodied right now. Left to 20 HP. Won't be long till he actually falls, and there we have it. Exist will kill him as well. It's the SMGs that are finding frags. That's the scary factor, is it's going to be even more cash going into the bank of ninjas in pajamas. Now then, Pasha and Bialy, they're spread fairly thin, but they actually do find a couple of frags here. Forest will go down, but there's a response from Freiburg. It's not going to amount to too much, though. It's only 1 kill. They will get that buyout into the following round anyway. NiP are going to be fairly happy. Not only do they win this round, they also get the bomb plant, and it's almost casualty-free, unless Pasha can make it better, but that will not be the case. Draken will drop him. Now, at least, VP have gone through the slew that they had to get through. They will be able to get their economy back. This is where we really see another, one of the first few sort of full buys between either side into the second half.
Yeah, I mean, just the worrying thing is now is how strong that T-side economy has been allowed to get to already, considering we're only 5 rounds into the second half. We'll be seeing a buy coming in from VP, but if they lose this, NiP are going to be just projected into the lead in such a big way. And it will be an uphill battle, to say the least, from VP from that point on. So this is a very crucial round, and already we can see 3 players over towards this B site for NiP. They leave 2 in mid to watch for any early aggression. And VP, well, they've hedged their bets a little bit over towards B with 3 players here of their own, and a third who can rotate in quickly in the form of Taz, as he does opt to play the double doors. It looks like he might want to try and take some control in mid. If he does, though, you've got Forest and Freiburg there to lock it down and swiftly send him to the grave.
See what the case will be, though, as they set themselves up. Lots of nade usage now towards drop down as they want to try and slip their way through. Bialy will counter flush to try and slow them down, but it's not actually going to do too much at all. They can just sit there. They weren't even going to go for the full commit just yet. They were just trying to draw out utility from the side of VP. Freiburg backs off as well, expecting if there was going to be a rotate, it would have happened by now. So they all link up. They start to slowly encroach. They're getting quite a few players down. I mean, that's 3 already taking control of drop down at this point. Taz is smoked off, so he knows it is going to be a commit towards the B-bomb site now as well. So there should be a rotate coming over. It is going to be a backstab. Forest gets the opener on the site as he eliminates Pasha. Can they find anything else? Neo is blind, but he's doing work. That's 2 threats going his way before Forest will retaliate. Bialy, hungry for more as he peeks through, will find 1, but it's trades galore going the way of NiP. And it all relies now on the backstab. Sneaky Snacks coming in the rear. The man himself, will he be able to actually achieve anything, or will he be spotted out? Draken locates him with the ult, but does whiff the shot, but not with a Tech 9.
And this is where things are going to get so problematic for Virtus.pro. I mean, look at the money situation on that, on both sides. I mean, for VP, they've got nothing. They will be able to buy down to about $2,000, and for Neo, that means he could potentially, go for the Armored Eagle, which I imagine is what we might see. But even then, on the side of NiP, they've got so much cash to play around with, and it looks to get only stronger as a result. This round, VP just going to have to eco it out, and that's going to allow NiP to pick up a 13th and potentially make that much more money. We have to see VP put some bodies on the floor. I mean, at this point, they've got to do some economic damage. We haven't seen much of that at all, and it is going to come back to bite them in the latter stages.
It's true. Definitely will come back to hit them hard if they don't adjust somehow. It's the thing, if NiP actually lock this down as you assume they would as well and get that 30 in front of the board, they're going to be so close to match point that you just got to imagine that amount of pressure is definitely going to be pounding on VP. Scary to think that it's got that close already. NiP now taking control of Sword's side. They will be just making their approach free. Snax is there, and everyone else is situated close by as well. I mean, they're in the prime time position, the perfect setup to try and deal with an A execute because they can slow it down so much, but Snax fails to do his job. 2 frags go in the way of NiP already, and it's starting to get worse by the second. Get right will execute by Ali. Pasha also hits the deck. It's just left on Neo. He has the Deagle in his hands. But what can he actually do with it? Trapped on the back of the bomb site, just hiding, hoping to find something, but it was not meant to be. Freiburg will connect the headshot onto him, and there's NiP getting the round as we expected.
And once again, that was worst case scenario for Virtus.pro. Even if they found 1 or 2 frags here and there, it would have chipped away at the economy. But look at this. You've got Freiburg sitting on $12,500, and that's without buying up an auto shotgun. I mean, the money on that T side is absolutely insane. It's going to take, what, like 3-4 round wins consecutively before VP can properly break it, unless, NiP do keep going for this AWP buy on Draken. But already we can see the aggression over towards B. The wall of smoke's coming on in as, look at this angle. Onto the site, they rain, and that's going to just divide it. It means that rotates coming in through connector won't work, and we're actually going to see Pasha just opt to leave the site for the time being, feeding the rest of the guys to the wolves as Neo seemingly killed by a flying plant pot. Down he goes. Bialy next to Volter as the man advantage going to be put back into equality thanks to Taz. Does equalize it out with Exist going down. But bomb has been planted. The retake's got to come in. A nice flash to kickstart this and allow Pasha some presence out onto the site. But with Draken locking down, drop down, it's going to be difficult for Taz to peek on through. Pasha falters, down goes Taz. It's all on Snax, the man with a plan, as he does find one on the back of the AWP. But he's still got a lot of work left to do.
Depends if he can actually get this job done as well, or if it'll be another failed attempt. All right, now just waiting for the peaks to come his way. Time is ticking down. He doesn't have the kit as well, so he realizes if they don't peek into me, I'm just going to have to back off and saves. And it seems like that is going to be the penultimate call, as time is ticked over.
Yeah, I mean, they save up the AWP, and they've done a nice bit of damage to the economy, but damage to the economy is one thing, but that was needed rounds ago. I mean, at this point, they just need round wins. 8-14, they're 6 rounds behind, and what started as an unbelievable start for them, everything's gone the way of NiP, and we haven't seen VP even put anything on the board in ages.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, as you said, with that damage to the economy, at this point, it doesn't even matter. Because, honestly, even if they get reset here, NiP could still probably work their way through with the amount of cash they have saved up in their bank accounts to still close this one out before it became an issue. I highly doubt it's really going to even get to that stage. Splash damage has been done, though. At least this time around, there is a little bit more of a contest coming into it. Pasha will regroup with the rest of his teammates as well, but Bialy does the job all on his lonesome. This is the first time we've actually seen fairly effective drop-down control coming out of VP. Slows down Get Right. This also puts a massive hindrance in the works of Ninjas in Pyjamas. They have to reposition and really decide what they actually want to go for. That bomb needs to be rotated over towards the A side for a start at this point, as it seems like the second guess, the plan B, will be to just hit the bomb site a little bit later into the round.
Yeah, now VP, they are a team that can forge some epic comebacks, and they're by no means out of this just yet. They've already had a great start to this round, and you can see their hunch to keep 3 players over towards B is well-founded. And there's that play that we were on about earlier from Pasha with the Mag 7, playing it by the broken wall. Bialy's been boosted on up, and they're not going to see this coming as he finds himself a second frag. They have to trade him out. He's going to get 3. Give him an inch, and he'll take a mile. Finally taken down by Freiburg, and Snax next to fall. But it's Pasha with the Mag 7, looking to try and keep this in their advantage. Does the damage, and Draken going to bite the dust. Freiburg able to find himself a second as he entries in towards this B site. He's trying to do the damage, but he completes the transition from entry frag to entry frag. Down he goes, and VP, they find themselves a 9th round.
Good stuff for VP there, just what they needed. But the scary factor is, as we've been speaking about, NiP had a lot of money to play with. That is still very evident here. You can see they're at least going to get a sort of, another 2 sort of buys out at this point before it becomes an issue, because they'll get the loss bonus around that region as well. So they buy back into it. Draken is over on the AWP. The rest of them armed to the teeth for these AK-47s. Let's see how they actually play it out, though. The bomb's still taking over towards the B bomb site. They're going to set themselves up. Just hold. Draken goes for the early confrontation, though. He peeks out over by Broken Wall. This is more aggressive than we usually see from NiP. Let's see if this will actually help them or hinder them into this round.
Taz and Snacks are over at long, and if they do opt to go aggressive, you've actually got 2 players there to try and counteract that for NiP. Similar to actually what we saw VP do on their T side, they're just waiting. And they actually opt to send Forest in now. They're going to be able to pincer out onto these guys, both of them over at long. And Molly's there to hold them back for the time being. You can see Snacks has his attention firmly fixated on the push up through Matrix, but now they're going to fall on back, opt to rejoin their comrades over at B. Draken going to be the one to try and entry with the AWP. Smoke goes in, but it's a little bit late, and there's a gap in it, which is allowing him just to capitalize on that peeking round. Going to get a lot of information onto the site. 2 players here as well, as actually they rotate Neo off. A bad call from them as NiP. Okay, Draken, that flick was lovely. Down goes Pasha. Bialy to try and refrag, does get one, but now he's going to be stuck here, roasting in the fire and flames. Get right to pick him up. It's Neo, the man who rotated off and left his comrades to die, coming back in to try and help out. Got to try and find these trades to buy time for the rotate, but bomb's already down. Neo doesn't spot out Forest as he blends in with the wall, and now it's Taz and Snacks. Forest makes quick work of one. And then Freiburg to finish off Snacks. 9-15 as NiP, they arrive at match point. And the reset, it was looming. Now it's in full effect for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, worst case scenario there, because you get around, you get reset. Now you're absolutely broken. Things as well, couldn't come at a worse time, because the thing is, look at this. NiP here, 15 rounds on the board. All it takes is to win this one up against an ecoing VP. And you win this game. You take the series 1-1. It would be a very interesting scoreline if they can actually do that. Let's see if that will be the case, though, as they make their play. Once again, same slow default on play. You have Draken a little bit further back this time, just scoped in towards Broken Wall. Pasha does try and peek up, which he shouldn't unless there's a smoke there and he has reason to believe anyone is up close and personal, but he would immediately be taken down if that was to come to effect. Draken as well, still just holding it, waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, they're going to make their play towards the A site, doing as they usually do, seeing if any mistakes will be made from VP, if they'll get overconfident, make a play in towards mid, and then NiP will late round take control of mid and slip through Matrix.
Snacks going to take the gamble, gets up and close to the proximity over in mid, waiting on this side of the smoke. Taz at long, going to be flashed back and has to quickly try and retreat. No one there to cover him or trade out in this scenario as Snacks promptly leaves mid. The peek comes in from Taz. He does get one. The trade instantly comes through from Freiburg, so it will be equalized back out of 4-4, and the information he got on the back of that peek was fairly monumental. He spots the bomb on Freiburg. You can already see it's tempted the rotate in from Bialy off of that B site. Neo's slowly but surely making his way around as well. NiP, though, they're still fixated over here towards A, still making noise in mid. It is going to be heard by Snacks, and he's going to hear more than noise as he brings the noise. Draken and Get Right both go down, but Freiburg is just doing the best they can to equalize it into a 2-on-2. Now making their way over towards the A site. Bomb on the back of Freiburg. He's going to look to get that down. Snacks and Pasha locked in this 2-on-2, and Pasha with the Mag 7, less than ideal to say the least, but if anyone can make it work, it's going to be him.
Very true indeed. Let's see if that will be the case, though, as he slowly slips his way through. Him and Snacks need to try and do some damage, but Freiburg will get the opener, takes down Pasha, and all of a sudden it is just left from the sneaky man himself. They're going to peek into him. He can do some damage, but not a frag. Freiburg will overpower. And there you have it. They actually take a 1-1 scoreline, a map each. NiP close it out. I mean, that is crazy to see just how well they played on Cobblestone. They look like a completely different team.
Yeah, no, that was a spectacle to say the least, and I think that was probably one of my favorite games that we've actually had the pleasure of casting since we've been doing this. I mean, that was fairly an amazing return to form from them. VP were looking great over on Nuke. It was looking amazing for them in the early stages of this. I imagine that's what we're going to see as a lot of these kind of highlight clips start to play. Is utter domination from VP. Up until that point, I think it was in round 8 where we just saw NiP switch it all around, and suddenly they come back and we actually kind of see them looking almost kind of, like legacy NiP as opposed to the slightly more shaky Swedish team they are now. And it was just utter domination from that point on in. A great return to form, and resilience being the key word, I think, from them. They remained resilient, something that VP, they just couldn't do. They were at a huge deficit towards the end after losing many consecutively, and they couldn't come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, right, this is the whole turning point. VP gets 7 rounds on the board. NiP buy an auto shotty on Freiburg. Freiburg gets 2k. Get Right goes crazy. They close the round down. From that point onwards...
That was my favorite kill, by the way, sorry.
when it just blows them out of the server. They just didn't lose a round. I mean, everyone looked fabulous. They were just being able to close it down. It looked great. And then it didn't end there. That was the thing. It was continuation of hype in towards the second half, where they just locked it down very easily. Some great stuff coming out from them. It just looked like a whole different team. Honestly, it looked like they traded paces at that point, because it's just a complete change of pace from either team. And it looked very interesting the way it actually boiled down.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just coming into it was a map that they did just look to be more comfortable on. Everything looked a lot less rigid. We saw a much more fluid, comfortable playstyle, and I think a lot of that, you know, complements the fact that it was one of Draken's kind of better maps back when he was in Epsilon. It's one that they've had a lot of success on recently, and the fact that they're able to get that many rounds in a row, if there's one team that, you know, really kind of gets set back when you do a comeback like that, it is going to be VP. Who, you know, they're normally the ones in that sort of situation where they have those big turnarounds. They struggle a little bit when the same thing happens onto them. But all in all, I think that was a fantastic series.
It's true. And at least VP are actually able to get their first map win in April on the board here as they come in.
Yeah, there we go. That's another thing. Their first win for April, 1-1.
It is good to see him actually achieving something. But nevertheless, let's find out what we're going on. After this short break, there is still more to come, so do stick around.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion by Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
I can't understand people watching somebody play a computer game.